For most of the last century, mainstream pop music has relied on a single, highly effective blueprint: homophony. You have a lead singer carrying a melody you can easily hum, backed by a supporting track that strictly stays out of the way. This diagram illustrates the classic wall of sound production style. By compressing the audio into a dense, solid acoustic brick, producers engineered a mix specifically designed to punch through radio static and dominate the airwaves. But there is an older, more intricate musical structure, known as polyphony. Instead of prioritizing one lead melody, polyphony weaves multiple independent melodic lines moving at the exact same time, each retaining its own rhythmic integrity. This architectural layout shows exactly where polyphony originated, inside the cavernous, echoing spaces of Renaissance cathedrals. The immense physical volume of these rooms was a strict requirement, giving competing voices the acoustic room to cross paths and resolve without clashing. Pack those intricate, overlapping voices into a compressed 3-minute pop radio edit, and the sound immediately devolves into a muddy collision. To fit this technique onto the modern charts, producers had to strip the pop song of its dense instrumental backing. In 2005, Imogen Heap departed from traditional pop architecture, using a digital studio setup. For her release, Hide and Seek, she removed the expected musical foundations. By stripping away the drums, removing the guitars, and the underlying synths, she created a deliberate acoustic void. To fill that void, Heap played a digital vocal processor like a pipe organ. She fed a single vocal input into the machine and split it into 4 distinct melodic voices, creating pure, unaccompanied vocal polyphony. The resulting track reached the mainstream, eventually being sampled into a multi-platinum hit by Jason Derulo. By exposing millions of listeners to interlocking vocal lines, Heap demonstrated that the public could connect with complex textures, as long as the underlying delivery retained a raw emotion. Pushing into the late 20-teens, the charts were dominated by the stark, quiet aesthetic of Billie Eilish. Critics widely described her sound as minimalist, but beneath that quiet surface, her brother and producer, Phineas, engineered a highly complex vocal architecture. Analytically, look at this visualization of the track When the Party's Over. We see over 40 stacked vocal layers pushed to the extreme edges of the stereo field, framing a massive hollow center in the middle of the mix. Rather than simply copying the lead vocal to make it louder, these layers operate independently. They weave through that empty space with hocketing counter-melodies, where voices rapidly trade notes back and forth, and form dissonant clusters that eventually resolve. Phineas isolated the silence of modern digital production and used it as negative space. By clearing out the traditional pop clutter, he excavated a cavity large enough for an entire choir to breathe. The next shift pushes this complexity out of the digital void and back into the physical world. Jacob Collier acts as a bridge between elite conservatory theory and the top 40. While starting as an independent multi-instrumentalist, he has exported his intricate harmonic approach to major mainstream acts, including Coldplay and SZA. This map displays Collier's signature harmonic grid. Instead of relying on conventional chord progressions, he introduces microtonal shifts and hyper-Lydian scales, guiding vocal lines into the abstract spaces between the notes of a piano. Awestruck, he scales this theory up to visible stadiums with his audience choir. By dividing tens of thousands of untrained concertgoers into specific harmonic sections, he conducts the crowd as a single, living polyphonic instrument. Complex voice leading, long confined to academic study, becomes a visceral, communal experience, capable of filling the world's largest acoustic spaces. Pop music has systematically moved beyond the rigid, compressed wall of sound. By strategically utilizing digital isolation and carving out negative acoustic space, modern producers manage to return centuries-old musical complexity to commercial radio. The success of these tracks suggests that mainstream audiences don't require structural simplification to connect with a song's emotion. Polyphony now acts as the invisible structural vocabulary of the charts, proving that modern pop is ready to speak in multiple voices at once.